Hey, welcome back everyone. How you doing? It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. This video, it's something that was requested of me. I believe last week somebody asked me, since you said that Apple 4K TV has both Dolby Vision and HDR and it's unlocked automatically and stays on whether you use static metadata, which is a standard static metadata for HDR10, or whether you use dynamic metadata, which is Dolby Vision enabled. I'm not going to spend too much time delving into dynamic metadata versus static metadata. This is something you guys can learn, or I might make a separate video about this, or you can go to Vincent Teo from UK, HD TV Tests, and he will explain this to you in basic terms. What I'm going to do here, basically, I'm going to click on a YouTube app, and what I'm going to try is go to some of the 4K enabled videos and show you how it looks when it's compressed by Dolby Vision Dynamic Metadata. Please keep in mind, what I'm going to do here, it's not a true Dolby Vision that's being outputted from that source. What it is, it's a compressed dynamic metadata Dolby Vision into a upscaled 4K or native 4K video from YouTube. So I'm going to find something really quick. I'm going to go through it and I'm going to show you a couple of videos. All right, but please keep in mind, I understand it's not a true Dolby Vision output. It's compressed Dolby Vision output, okay? So, having said that, let's go ahead and let's do this. By the way, the television I'm using, it's by Chinese company commonly known as TCL, and the model number it's P55605. And just to show you that it is on dynamic metadata Dolby Vision enabled, meaning it'll always be compressing no matter what you are playing on this TV, on this screen. Apple 4K TV will be compressing that with dynamic metadata. All right, let me just quickly tell you the only difference between dynamic metadata and static metadata is, look, they're both HDR formats. It's not like there's some magical appearance that happens. Static metadata, it's limited. It can only reach to a certain nits of peak brightness. Okay? And dynamic metadata, it's unlocked. It varies, it fluctuates. It can reach up to 4,000, 8,000, 10,000, 12-bit bit color of peak brightness, depending on what type of TV you have. You know, the more capable TV you have of peak brightness with Dolby Vision, obviously it'll look better. If you have a Dolby Vision projector, then obviously this Apple 4K TV will be able to represent that dynamic metadata of Dolby Vision compressed into even higher peak brightness. So you will see more detailed colors like you're seeing right here, Los Angeles, Hollywood Hills, and the that observatory right there. So it'll look better, okay? It'll look gazillion times better. But it's also important to remember this is a compressed metadata. It's a dynamic metadata, meaning that Dolby Vision is compressing here. It's compressing and sampling the images with a richer color, brighter color, along with the peak brightness that's brighter. However, on this TV, don't expect peak brightness to be going to that level of what is normally being seen on Dolby Vision, okay? This is why I always tell you it is very important to keep your TV brightness at brighter and picture mode at bright Dolby Vision, okay? So anyway, let's go to YouTube and let's click on the YouTube app. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to search for a 4K content. I'm just going to go and search for something really quick. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to hold my button and I'm going to search for 4K videos. Okay, and right there is going to show up 4K videos Ultra HD. So I'm going to click on it. Let's click on this video. It has 2.3 million views. It's 7 minutes. Let's click on it really quick and let's see how it looks. And I'm gonna turn the volume down because I don't want to get flagged. All right, so remember what you're seeing here, it's a compressed dynamic metadata, compressed Dolby Vision. All right, and this is the unique feature about Apple 4K TV. No one else is doing this. Okay, no other device, no other streaming device is doing this, where it's constantly allowing you to have Dolby Vision dynamic metadata on at all times, that it's always on. So that means that all of your content, even this YouTube video, will look much better being compressed by Dolby Vision. Okay, this is the point I'm trying to make here, that no matter what content you're watching, the dynamic metadata Dolby Vision will compress this with much better, richer color. And I can see it here, honestly. You guys is gonna have a hard time seeing it, but I can clearly see it here, and it's much better. Okay, let's go check something else really quick. Let's go over here and check this. Let's check this out. Power of curves. Let's look at this really quick while we're here. So let me move the volume down. I don't want to get flagged. And I clearly can see the benefit of having the dynamic metadata here. Dolby Vision. It's compressing the signal, even though I know it's a streamed 4K from YouTube. But it's still, even here, you're still getting much better looking color and brightness than you would just having standard dynamic range. So this is one of the accolades of Apple 4K TV, that it's having this ability to process this all the time. And the reason it can process it, because it really has a powerful chip. I don't think people understand what's inside that box. It's a very, very powerful chip that's built inside of it. All right, let's go through some more. Let's find something else here. Here, let's look at this. Is it Barcelona? FCB, here we go. Yeah, it is Barcelona. This is being compressed with Dolby Vision. And I know it's not a true source of Dolby Vision, but it's being compressed, okay? What I'm trying to say, I know that this streaming, it's not outputting Dolby Vision, but what is outputting, it's the Apple 4K TV chip. It's outputting and compressing the color, the peak brightness, and it looks better. I mean, all of your YouTube videos will look better compressed by Dolby Vision. Okay, and that's the key feature that this Apple 4K TV has that no other streaming device has. Okay, it is very important to acknowledge that. This is why people always ask me, well, but I said no, but this is the only device that's doing this. Okay, and it's the only device that's giving you both Dolby Vision and HDR turned on at all times. meaning that you will process, it will compress any kind of signal into a much better vivid colors and much better peak brightness of detail. And you can clearly see that here. Let me move my camera away a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see it. Now, it all depends on the TV as well. Like the better TV you have, the better it's going to look, okay? So that's important to understand as well. And also, it is streaming, so people got to understand that as well. You know, this is something that's being streamed. So you're looking probably about 20 megabits per second on a bit rate, which is pretty decent for a streaming app. And it looks pretty good. I mean, honestly, it looks pretty good. And also to remember, Apple 4K TV, it's very responsive. Even on this YouTube app, it's very responsive, okay? It's almost like a 4K player. Just look how responsive that is. Like, here's my remote control. Hold on. Just look at the responsiveness. You know? And even when you're scrolling down, look just how responsive that is. Look at that. That is very responsive. Actually, I'm not going to do that. So, not only are you getting a Dolby Vision dynamic metadata compressed constantly into whatever it is that you're watching, but at the same time, it's very fast. This is a very fast device. Here, let me get my dynamic light. This is a very fast device. It is very responsive, and it does an excellent job of scrolling and moving. As you can see right here, is a great example I just showed you. I can go back to it and start again if I want to. Very fast. Again, same thing here. Scroll through it. And this is the YouTube app. And just look how fast and smooth this is. It's almost like you're watching a disc, honestly. And yes, this is YouTube. Believe it or not, you're watching a YouTube app. And thanks to the Apple 4K TV A10X chip, it's able to process this because it has dynamic metadata unlocked. So therefore, no matter what you're watching, even if you're not watching a true 4K source, the processing chip inside Apple 4K TV, it's going to upscale this YouTube video, and then it's going to process it and compress it with Dolby Vision dynamic metadata. So right there, you're getting a bonus. And please keep in mind, this is the only device that's doing that. I know you might not be a fan of Apple ecosystem, but I think this is the great time to jump into Apple ecosystem because they have really good, affordable 4K Dolby Vision and HDR movies that you're not going to find anywhere else. And we're talking top-notch, top Hollywood studios out there, some big blockbuster movies that you're not going to find anywhere else cheaper than as you will here on Apple 4K TV. So that's something to also think about as well. Okay, let's go through some more YouTube videos. I don't know what else I can show you. I can show you this HD relaxing music with 4K videos. We can check this out really quick and see how it looks. I mean, right off the bat, you know, right here, I mean, it's Dolby Vision. You remember, I don't mean to exaggerate this, but it is hard for you to see through camera. I understand that. But if I was to bring you here in person and turn off the Dolby Vision dynamic metadata, turn it off totally, completely, you would see much brighter picture. You would see less detail. You would see less color pop because you don't have that processing of dynamic metadata. Okay? And another thing I want to say about dynamic metadata, which this is something you should already know if you are into this technical 4K stuff. Dynamic metadata can process up to 12-bit, which is designed by Dolby Laboratories. It can compress and decode 12-bit colors with highest possible peak brightness, meaning it's unlimited peak brightness. It can go up to 4,000 peak brightness nits. In some cases up to 8,000 nits of peak brightness, and that's a lot of detail of peak brightness of the color, okay? Meaning richer color, 12-bit, with that kind of nits of brightness on the TV, you're truly gonna see every detail pop vividly. But of course, you're gonna need I don't know if they have that kind of TV out there, but you're definitely gonna need that kind of Dolby Vision TV, which I'm pretty sure in the future we'll see not just the 4K, we'll see 8K with 12-bit and probably 4,000 nits of peak brightness. I'm not sure which way OLED's gonna go, but I think QLED will probably nanocells QLED will probably have more ability to process that higher peak brightness, and we'll probably see some QLED TVs in the future utilizing Dolby Vision because of that peak brightness. That's what I'm guessing. Again, I don't know. It might change, but we'll see what happens in CES Vegas in January 2018, so we'll find out. And even here, just look at this. If it wasn't for the Dolby Vision processing, you would not see this. And keep in mind, this is a YouTube app. Okay, here I am, I'm watching a YouTube app on Apple 4K TV. And it's not even a Dolby Vision encoded source. It's just a regular 4K source. However, the Dolby Vision Dynamic Metadata processing, compressing frame by frame each picture, it's going to give you that detail. And you definitely, I mean, I see it here big time. You know, it's just amazing. And even here is a great example, like the sunset and the ice cold particles of ice. They're like sitting there. The reflection, it's all here. It's all here. And believe me, if I was to turn off the Dolby Vision Dynamic Metadata totally off, you would not see this. You would just see a bright picture. It would be just bright. It would be washed out, bright, bleak, and you would lose that detail. And you wouldn't like it, honestly. You'd be like, what is this? So this is the accolade, guys, of Apple 4K TV. All of your apps will look great. All of your content will look great. It does, even if it's not 4K. Okay, even if it's not HDR, it will still gonna look good. Okay, that's a big benefit. On top of very fast processing chip that was gonna make this device run even faster. Plus, also, you get all of these Dolby Vision movies for a really good affordable price. And you're not going to find them anywhere. Forget about Vudu, honestly. Just stay away from Vudu. Vudu is way too expensive. They're asking way too much for their pricing. So, yeah, you know. Someone asked me, am I going to do a comparison between Dolby Vision, Apple 4K TV, and HDR? I said, I might do that video soon. That might be possible. Also, I wanna say something about people been asking me like when I'm gonna get the Oppo 203, when it's gonna happen. In the future, it will happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen November, December. Most likely after probably January 2018, I might be able to get one. Because you have to remember, right now I'll be busy with the Xbox One X. Xbox One X, it's just around the corner, man. It's almost there. It's like a couple of weeks shy away from release. It's almost here. I mean, Xbox One X, it's almost here. So I don't know if I'm gonna even have time to get my hands on the Oppo 203. And one thing I want to say about the Oppo 203, Oppo 203, it's not for everyone. I want to clarify something, and it's not just me that's going to say this. You can ask anybody out there who's unbiased and who's not sponsored. Oppo 203, it's for video files and audio files. It's for people who have home theater, built-in home theater and they're already cashing out, spending a lot of money into their home theater, and they need the best possible audio output out there and best possible picture for their projectors or their big TVs that they have installed into their home theater room. It's meant for those type of people. And the 4K player, it's really meant for home theater enthusiasts, people who want to have all of the access, analog access, many inputs as possible, outputs of audio and video, and therefore they're going to benefit. Especially if you have a projector, like a really good projector, you're going to benefit from the Oppo. But if you're just a regular guy, it's just like a couple of speakers, nothing too fancy, or has a sound bar, right? If you're just a regular guy, then Xbox One X will give you much better value, because with the Xbox One X, you're going to pay close to the same price. Actually, on the Xbox One X, you'll pay less. You'll only pay $526. That's the tax included, so $526. Let's say $530 for Xbox One X. On the Oppo, you'll be paying $660 because they charge you shipping and handling, which is $18. That's if you want to wait 7 days. If you want to get it 3 days earlier, then you'll have to pay $83 plus tax. So you're looking at the $100 on top of $550 with tax. So you're looking at the $660. So you're paying less of that price, and with the Xbox One X, you're getting a 4K player, very robust, powerful console, streaming 4K, recording 4K gameplay, and probably in the future you'll get Dolby Atmos and VR functionality. So I personally think with the Xbox One X, you're getting more value. With Project Scorpio, Xbox One X, you're getting more value if you want to get into 4K, okay? Because Oppo, it's excellent. It's a state-of-the-art 4K player. Do not get me wrong. But it is not for everyone. And I think that's very important to talk about. And I haven't heard anybody say this. And let me be the first one to say this. Oppo, it's not for everyone. And it is a great 4K player. It's outstanding for people who are enthusiasts and they're building home theaters. But it is not for everyone. Okay? Meaning it's intended only for certain demographics, enthusiasts, people who want to have the best of the best, la creme de la creme, and they have the money and they're willing to spend that money on the best of the best. But it's not for everyone. So for you to go out there and cash out $600 and you're living in an apartment, you don't have a home theater, it's kind of ridiculous. You're not going to see that much of a difference. You should just invest into Xbox One X, because with the Xbox One X, you're getting a much better deal. And whatever leftover money you have, you can also grab Apple 4K TV and have non-stop dynamic metadata and HDR running at the same time. So I really wanted to say this because a lot of you have been asking me this question, and I never kind of got the time to talk about this and explain this. So hopefully this kind of clarifies whether or not you should burn that $660. And it's a lot of money. Okay, not everyone can cash out that kind of money just like that, because they got to pay bills, mortgages, leases, cars, whatever that you might have that you have to take care of in your bills. So you got to ask yourself, do I really need that? And what's my value, right? Xbox One X, in my opinion, you're getting a far better value for the money. Think about what you're getting inside that box. So it's a far better value, all right? And this is honestly the best answer I can give you regarding Oppo 203. Okay? So there you have it. I answered that question about the Oppo 203 and the benefits and value versus the two, okay? Which logically should tell you which one outweighs the other in terms of value. But you have to look at it from two different perspectives. For somebody who's a high roller, who's an enthusiast, who's a hardcore home theater enthusiast, he will delve more towards a Oppo 203 or even Oppo 205. A person who is just a regular Joe looking for a good value for the money, he will go with the Xbox One X or even Xbox One S. But I personally believe Xbox One X is a better, far better package value deal. It's like Phil Spencer said, Xbox One X, it's not for everyone, but this is why we give people choices. You don't have to go with the X. You can go with the S, and then if you want to upgrade in the future, you can go with the Xbox One X, okay? So let's continue with the Apple 4K TV. I had to get that out of the way so I can answer that question, because a lot of you have been asking me these questions on the forums and on the Facebooks, everywhere. So finally I get a chance to answer it, and I answer it here for you on YouTube, okay? As you can see, it's really, it really adds to the detail, you know. And here I am on a TCL. Obviously, if I was using an OLED, I would have even better detail, because remember, you got to feed Apple 4K TV with a good TV, with a great TV. The better TV you have, the better the Apple 4K TV is going to look, and the better the dynamic metadata is going to be able to render and compress that color and peak brightness, okay? So that's also very important to remember. And I know it's kind of hard to believe, like, oh my God, you know, you're using a YouTube app and it looks like as if you're watching it from a 4K player. Well, that's because the Apple 4K TV has a really outstanding chip, okay? It has a really great chip, all right? So that's important to remember. And I know the YouTube app, you know, it's not outputting a true 4K. I understand that. And I know that. I want to clarify that as well. I understand that Google and Apple are having some, they've always been the rivals. Google and Apple, they never got along, okay? I understand that. So with the YouTube app, you're not getting the true native 4K. You cannot output a true native 4K. However, the upscaling chip, this is what I'm trying to get at. The upscaling chip that's built inside Apple 4K TV is going to upscale this 1080p content even better on your 4K TV with dynamic metadata. So think about this. Here's the 1K source material that's being represented here, and it's being upscaled by the chip that's built inside Apple 4K TV to a 4K, and it looks great. It looks great. Probably getting anywhere between 23 to 22 Mbps on the bit rate, streaming bit rate. Now on top of that upscaling, guess what else you're getting? That unlimited dynamic metadata processing. Dynamic metadata processing of Dolby Vision. You wouldn't be able to see these houses being so colorful and the reflection on the that river. You wouldn't be able to see that if it wasn't for the processing of Dolby Vision dynamic metadata, okay? So it's very important for you to understand that. This is the accolade you're getting with Apple 4K TV, okay? So hopefully this video kind of gives you an idea on what's so unique about Apple 4K TV and why you should definitely grab the 4K TV. I think it's worth $200. You don't have to go with the $200. You can go with $180, but why not go with a $200 and get a 64 gig so you can store more apps and more stuff. But there you go. This is an excellent representation of an app called YouTube, that's Google, and still it's being rendered in Dolby Vision, and it's being upscaled to 4K nicely, so you really are getting benefit here. Okay, you're not gonna find a better 4K HDR Dolby Vision benefit than you will find on this streaming device. This is probably one of the best, I would say this year, Apple 4K TV, it's the best 4K streaming device out there because it has unlocked dynamic metadata and static metadata at all times, okay? So there you have it. Hopefully this video helps you a little bit, gives you some more ideas whether you should go ahead and purchase Apple 4K TV. I recommend that you go to the Apple store, purchase it there. You will find all of the Apple 4K TVs there. They're all in stock. Go to your local Apple 4K TV store and your local Apple store, and you'll find it there. So there you go. Hopefully you like this video. This is Mr. 4K Upscaler, and I'm going to do some more comparison videos. People want to see Dolby Vision versus HDR on Apple 4K TV, HDR, Dolby Vision versus 4K UHD videos. They want to see that comparison. I'll be working on that soon as well, so I can give you that comparison. Until then, I'll catch you later, guys. Have a good one, though. Take care.